Matthew 22:37 to 39 is one of the most profound and transformative teachings in the Bible, and it comes at a pivotal moment in Jesus' ministry. In these verses, Jesus is asked by a religious expert about the greatest commandment in the law, and he responds with what is often called the Great Commandment. The verse, Matthew 22:37 to 39. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." Explanation of the message. Love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. This commandment is deeply personal. It calls for the totality of a person's being, emotions, heart, will, and desires, soul, and intellect, mind, to be dedicated to loving God. This is not just a surface-level love or an occasional feeling of affection. It's an all-encompassing love, demanding everything from a person. Every thought, every feeling, every action should reflect this love for God. This type of devotion means that one's entire life is oriented around God's goodness, greatness, and authority. Heart. This represents our emotions and desires. It's where our affections and passions lie. Loving God with all your heart means giving Him your deepest desires, your love, your passions, and your emotional responses to the world. Soul. This refers to our inner life, our will, and our capacity for choice. Loving God with all your soul is to allow your decisions, your purpose, and your sense of fulfillment to be directed by Him. Mind. This pertains to our intellect and reasoning. To love God with all your mind is to dedicate your thoughts, your knowledge, and your understanding to God's truths. It's about seeking wisdom and understanding from a divine perspective and not just from human reasoning. Jesus emphasizes that this type of love for God is the greatest commandment because it is foundational to everything else: our relationship with God, our view of the world, and how we treat others. Love your neighbor as yourself. The second commandment Jesus gives is equally profound. It's the heart of how we are meant to relate to others. To love your neighbor as yourself is about seeing others not as mere strangers or competitors, but as equals deserving of the same respect, care, and compassion we show ourselves. Loving your neighbor is not just about acts of kindness. It's about how you love. It involves empathy, compassion, understanding, and selflessness. The phrase "as yourself" is key. It suggests that how you love others should mirror how you love yourself, how you care for your well-being, protect your dignity, and uphold your needs. It's a deep call to ensure that you are not only self-respecting, but also showing that same respect to others. In a world where people often experience alienation, rivalry, or indifference, this commandment is revolutionary. It calls for unity, community, and social harmony, reflecting a deep connection between the love for God and the love for people. Why it should resonate with you: a holistic life. These commandments resonate with people because they speak to every area of life: emotional, spiritual, and intellectual. People long for purpose and meaning, and loving God with all their heart, soul, and mind offers a clear framework for living a life of intention. It's a call to a higher standard of love and devotion that touches all aspects of human existence, not just our private moments of worship, but also our daily thoughts, decisions, and interactions. Deep, transformational love. The idea of loving God with your entire being transforms how people understand their relationship with the divine. It moves away from a transactional view of religion, where we do things for God in exchange for blessings, to a deeply relational and affectionate one. This kind of love is transformational because it draws us closer to God, changing us from the inside out, shaping our desires and actions. Connection to others. The second commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself, speaks to a universal need for connection. Humans naturally long for belonging, community, and kindness. This commandment forces individuals to expand their view beyond their own immediate circle, to show kindness and empathy to all, regardless of background or differences. It asks us to reflect on how we treat others, whether they are family, friends, strangers, or even those who may have wronged us. The commandment encourages people to live by a moral standard that seeks justice and kindness, which resonates deeply in cultures that emphasize compassion and the well-being of the community. Challenging and liberating. These verses challenge people to love in ways that can feel countercultural. They push back against selfishness, pride, and individualism. Loving God wholeheartedly and showing that love through how we treat others requires sacrifice and humility. Yet, it's also liberating. It calls people to a life of love that is not bound by rules or legalism, but by genuine relationship and compassion. It's a call to live freely and authentically, grounded in love. A universal principle. Finally, this commandment resonates because it speaks to universal truths. Love is a common thread that transcends cultures and backgrounds. No matter where you're from or what you believe, the idea of loving others and showing kindness is something everyone can understand and strive for. The Great Commandment reminds people of the shared humanity that binds us all together, making it universally relevant and timeless. Real-world impact. When people live out this commandment, it has a profound impact on the world. Communities that prioritize love for God and for others often become places of healing, grace, and service. It means prioritizing others' needs, speaking truth with kindness, offering forgiveness, and choosing peace over conflict. It creates stronger families, more inclusive societies, and deeper connections between individuals. These verses remind us that love is the heart of everything. Love for God gives us a foundation for our lives, and love for others transforms the world around us. Through this love, people discover a purpose that brings fulfillment and a profound sense of joy, rooted in the very essence of God's character.